Archaeologists have found an amazing gold trove in the middle of Jordan that is changing the very pages of human history. Amazingly, something from 14,400 years ago has been found that challenges our ideas and sends shockwaves through the archaeological community. Imagine for a moment that you were digging into the secrets of the past and found something that would change the way we think about how humans evolved. What mysteries are hidden in the sands of Jordan, just ready to be found? In this video, we will look into what this amazing historical find means. They found the remains of a campfire and the ashes of an old meal while looking for it. What's in the meal might change how people feel about the growth of farmland. To find new food, people would have to move. Since this way of life has been around for a long time, farming and the quiet life that comes with it are fairly new. But there are still some hunter-gatherer groups left. The San live in southern Africa, the Beauty live in Central Africa, and the Copper Inuit live in the Arctic. The climate changed a lot at the end of this age, which had an impact on ecosystems all over the world. Before farming, people may have been taking care of wild plants and animals. You had to work hard to hunt and gather food. So early farmers may have grown crops to give them peace of mind that they wouldn't go hungry during the lean seasons. So around 12,000 years ago, people first tamed plants. About 2,000 years later, between 8,000 and 10,000 years ago, people tamed animals. People in East Asia and the Americas started to grow different crops at the same time. Around 10,000 years ago, farming communities were built in Southwest Asia. This area is now known as the Fertile Crescent. At that time, it was Mesopotamia, where one of the first great societies in human history began. Depending on the climate, people in the Americas used different types of farming. In this part of the world, farming was different from other places because plows could not be pulled by sheep or cows. This group of hunter-gatherers lived mostly in the Mediterranean woodlands in the area. Still, Shubayqa is the first Natufian site outside of this core zone that researchers have looked into in great detail. The site is also a great place to learn new things about how hunter-gatherers ate. Shubayqa 1 is in the Black Desert, which is in the eastern part of Jordan. Their name comes from the black basalt rocks that make up a lot of the land in this area. Inscriptions from 2,000 years ago show that the desert wasn't always empty, and it's possible that there were a lot of people living there at one point. But Shubayqa 1 was made before the Artier, which seems to show that the Natufians were in the area a lot longer ago. It's also important to know that the Black Desert is a volcanic field that spans parts of Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. It is the largest and most well-known volcanic area in Arabia, but they don't seem to have been as busy as the cultures that came before them, and the digs at Shubayqa show that this had a big effect on what they ate. From 2012 to 2015, these digs took place at Shubayqa 1. Archaeologists from the University of Copenhagen led the work, even though the site was first found with help from Jordan's Department of Antiquities in the 1990s. There were probably more than 2 buildings at Shubayqa 1, but the experts only looked at the 2 that were in the best shape. It looks like the basalt that was used to build these stone buildings. A dead body was discovered on one of the walls. The group also found fireplaces in the houses. Based on the radiocarbon dates of the ashes inside, these fireplaces were from the Natufian age. They were made of 3-foot-wide basalt boulders. They did not clean out the furnaces, though. Instead, they left them alone so that scientists could look at the ashes and figure out what the Natufians ate. Researchers are very interested in the fact that the Native Americans seem to have been making bread without growing their own food. One day, this method might be able to be used to look at remains from places that have already been found. The UCL team that looked at the ashes was led by Laura Gonzalez Carretero. It's not as simple as this job sounds. The study student had to first come up with a way to tell bread apart from other old cereals, like porridge. The form and feel of bread come from the gluten or another protein in the flour. As part of a healthy diet, bread gives people iron, calcium, and B vitamins. The strange thing is that it's possible that was because the experts didn't clean the tubers well enough. If the Natufians had not added wheat, they would have made bread that was crispy and easy to break. Adding wheat would have given the dough the gluten it needed to change structure. This would have helped them bake the bread faster. There was no sign of ovens at Shubayqa 1 though, so the bread wasn't cooked. One more reason could be that they are easy to stack, which makes them easier to move and store. There have been other times when flatbreads from the past without yeast have been found. Similar things have been found at Roman and even Neolithic sites in Europe and Turkey. They were all 9,100 years old, but the bread in Jordan is much older. The experts now have proof that their ideas are correct. Antonella Pascolone, a food scientist who wasn't part of the study, seemed to agree with what it found. She said that because flatbreads are better than other kinds of bread, they might have been the best way to connect hunter-gatherers and stable farms. They would have had to think about how to grind the cereals, mix the dough, and bake it, so this must have been really cool. One way Jews celebrate Passover, which is one of their greatest holidays, is by eating matzo, which is a type of bread that doesn't rise. The Natufians might have been more likely to start growing grains if they thought bread was important enough to them. Some people think that the Natufians started gardening because they wanted to make more bread. Khadijah also wants to make bread from scratch. That was the first step. The flour was made from club rush, but it didn't taste right to current tastes. People today might need to make some changes to an old recipe before they can eat it. Khadijah still thinks of it as a way to connect with our ancestors from the past. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share and press the bell icon for more regular updates.